Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 8 German battleship, Bismarck. It has 8 380mm guns, 28 secondary guns, 77 AA defense rating, a surface detect of 12.3 kilometers top speed, 31 knots, total health 69,200. For my modules, reduce crit chance on main armament, improved aiming accuracy, reduce the chance of flood and fire, faster rudder shift, concealment. For my commander, basic survivability, basic firing training, expert marksman, superintendent, advanced firing training, and concealment again. We're on the map Loop, and it's finally here. I can finally talk freely about German battleships. And oh boy, do I want to say a lot of things about it. This is, of course, Bismarck, and it's the Tier 8. It's got a sister ship, the Tirpitz. It doesn't have torpedoes, but it's a little bit better in some cases because it lacks the torpedo system. And the stats are going to show just barely, maybe 1 knot more. I'm not using any speed boost flags. I do calculate my commander into the stats whenever I introduce a ship. The concealment factor, yeah, that's not normal. It's because I have a level 5 skill and I'm using the module. Now, I have tried secondary builds in the German battleship line. It makes great sense. But for me, I like the ambush potential of concealment. That isn't to say that if you get in a great situation, secondary is going to dominate. It will. It's impressive how many secondary guns the German battleship line has in general. So we are in the Bismarck, and we're going to try and take out our sister ship in the Tirpitz. Same class of ship, just slightly different for the game purposes, so you don't just feel like you're getting a regular ship or a non-premium or whatever. And I do 7,600 points of damage. Not bad. And another reason I'm not going full-on secondary, increase secondary gun range by 20%, dispersion, all that stuff. I don't find a lot of situations where I'm absolutely 100% super strong because of that reason. People know your secondaries are strong. They've seen the stats before anything was allowed to be shared. They saw 28 secondaries at Tier 8. Oh, the range, it's so glorious. It is glorious. But I like a more balanced build, and the secondaries are just there to, add on to the potential in a close quarter combat. I still have great accuracy. I still gain 5% secondary gun range with this accuracy module. It feels pretty good, honestly. And I'm just trying to land some shots on a broadside target. I want to minimize the number of targets that can engage me other than this battleship. And that's why I have that island in the way. We do 3,300. That's not bad. You are not going to notice a lot of citadels on these targets. It's just not in their DNA. They can take a lot of damage. They have a lot of superstructure. But if you try in citadel, you're not going to find a lot of citadels. Maybe once in a blue moon, but it's not going to happen as often as it does with other battleship lines. Now, if you would have noticed, my AA was pretty effective in that last attack. A friendly torpedo bomber was using my ship as protection. And once he flew in range, those fighters got chewed up by the enemy. We killed 5. Enemy Benson shows up. Enemy Mahan is also in the area. We are in secondary gun range. I don't have any accuracy increase to those secondaries with this build. I purely wanted to apply a standard build that I would use on all my battleships and see how effective it is, and it's pretty effective. Pretty much one-shotting the enemy US destroyer. And you notice that I also have Hydroacoustic. Tier 8, 9, and 10 get this. Their feeling is you should be in a brawling scenario. You should be close to the enemy. Well, torpedoes are going to devastate you if you're close to an enemy, right? If you can predict a torpedo, then you can use your hydro to protect yourself. I felt like if I was that close to 2 destroyers, at least one is going to send it towards me, and that's exactly what they did. I was able to pause and then move forward. It's the same hydro that's on the German cruiser line, so it has basically 1 more kilometer per tier than the standard hydroacoustic. It's really strong. But you know what else is not strong? Relying on your secondaries to do damage without committing to that manual secondary skill. It is pretty pathetic. Probably saw 20 or 30 shots in that little tiny scenario. We didn't hit a single one. And that is the real choice that I'm going to have to make. This is a build for me. I don't know if it's a good build for you. This is not a review. This is just me giving my impressions in this particular ship and what I look to do in every ship. We're about to be very close to the Benson. My Hydro is about to wear out, unfortunately. The expectation, torpedoes should be sent. Secondaries will be in range. If I'm lucky, I will detect them with aircraft. We see a friendly is headed out. By the way, these are tier 8 aircraft carriers in the match. And he either pulled a Notser or he knew it was trouble. So he stopped very abruptly. I was turning away so quickly to avoid the torpedoes that are incoming. Friendly aircraft scouted out. I'm trying to get enough angle to use the front guns. And I'm hoping that either the torpedoes or the Benson will find his way outside of the safety net that the smoke is providing. I believe he's still alive. I can't really tell. There's so many icons on the map. More enemy aircraft are overhead, and I always try to make sure a manual target is set. For secondaries, it increases, or at least AA, it's like 10% DPS, something like that. Obviously, it doesn't match the manual AA, the level 4 skill, but it's something. You don't have to do it, but it's a good practice to get into trying to set a target. And I noticed in North Carolina, he shoots so close to me, it must have missed my command tower by a meter, maybe 2 meters. That was so close to the top of my command tower. And yes, the Benson, he's still undetected. He still survived. And more torpedoes. Is this the same guy? Is this a different destroyer? Is he close by? There's still 3 enemy destroyers in the match. I just think it's a really odd angle that those torpedoes are coming. And we lose a friendly. We just lost our friendly North Carolina. How did he take the torpedoes? You gotta be aware. And I'm just looking for a target. The turrets traverse very quickly. It's very easy to put your guns on target. If another target becomes available, we do 6,800. Not bad. The Benson is still alive. I am still detected. And there is the enemy, Kagero, who probably sent the torpedoes, destroyed my friend that was right next to me. Part of that was just the overwhelming torpedoes. But the other part is you gotta sail with the expectation someone wants to kill you. Especially a battleship. I am all too familiar to people hunting me down. And, well, we have a mutual destruction right there. I wish I could have seen it with my own eyes. All we get to see is the dead husks as they sink to the bottom. And I got an enemy Hipper, enemy Benson. Benson is still close. He gets just a little bit too close to me. Guns are ready to go. I fire at the enemy Benson. I do have AP loaded, 3,400, not bad. We elevate the guns at the front, and we do another 3,400, not bad. Remember, there is a Hipper. He's right on the other side of that island. Gotta be careful. The one thing that Germans are kinda bad at is the turning radius. You do notice that your ship is larger than average. I could definitely say that about tier 10. It's larger than average. It's a really, really prime target. And especially in these early games where nobody saw these ships before, and they want to be the first to say, I killed Notser in a German battleship. This was the first time I ever saw it. You know, it feels good for them. Completely understand it. But if you happen to have XP that you're going to use, people are going to gun for you. You need to be careful. HE is very scary. AP not so much. It's still effective. And we barely don't get the kill on the Benson. Secondaries are just going everywhere because the accuracy, and we get lucky. We got lucky. We didn't have the improved accuracy of manual secondaries. But we still hit him right on the nose and get our second kill. That Hipper, he's still out there. I am still detected by aircraft. Oh, there he is, there he is. Hydro gave him away. I get to see him because of Hydro, and look at all the torpedoes. We are going to take, of course, torpedoes from the enemy Hipper. I've got to set this up just right. I have to keep on turning, and I want AP at the waterline. He's turning away. Okay, it's not going to be as effective as I would liked. We still do 14,000 points of damage, though. And am I going to be safe? I gun it. I'm going to go straight. I go straight with my rudder to try and beat out the torpedoes. And the speed is really there. It's really nice to have, I believe, a tier 7, 8, 9, and 10 all over, or at least 30 knots pre-speed flag. So these battleships get around. We do 9,000 points of damage. Secondaries are still going off wildly, barely hitting him. I really do regret not having a secondary build in this particular match because people just seem to want to be close to me. Usually, it's not the case. If I was bottom tier, nobody wants to be close to me. And I don't want to be close to them. But if you're top tier, or nearly, there are some tier 9s in this match, but it's not like it's a battleship. It's not like it's an aircraft carrier. It's not a big deal, right? I do want to be close to you. I want to hug you with my secondaries. And we're still chasing him, going as neutral as possible. He does have torpedoes on this side of his ship, his port side that he hasn't used. But he shows way too much of his side. And you know what happens to ships that show way too much of their side? They get taken out. Enemy Hipper's dead. We still have C point that we need to take. The game's pretty close other than the ship score. Only recently have we really knocked out the enemy team. I'm going to head over to C. I have a friend who is accompanying me on this journey. The only problem is he gives up a lot of speed. 10 knots on my ship. 10 knots. It's going to be really hard for him to even get to the C point in time to capture it. And yep, there were the torpedoes. Told you. The Hipper wants to use torpedoes. That's the only way he can rebalance the game in his favor, if torpedoes hit my ship. So as we go to C, I'm going to talk about a couple other things. I am going to be streaming later today. If I haven't mentioned this, it's a blur. I apologize. This is an emergency video. I thought I was going to be able to record this tomorrow or tonight at this point. I can't. I want to get it up as soon as possible, and I'm going to be doing a German stream as soon as possible, which is a day forward. We'll work it out. It's only sleep. I'll make it up somehow. And I'm just watching the enemy North Carolina, who pulled a Notser to probably avoid the torpedoes, but he's taking consistent damage from an English muffin. Really? An English muffin is going to take out the mighty North Carolina? I don't think it's going to be torpedoes, though. But it's a Fletcher, right? Fletchers are fun. Fletchers are really strong in the right scenario. He's getting scouting information from the aircraft carrier. And it's weird. It's like tennis. I gotta focus because they're so far away. I have to zoom in on one, move the camera all the way to the other, see what's going on. We have B. We're about to capture C. This North Carolina, he's gonna die. I don't see any fires on his ship, but he might just be taking enough HE damage from the Fletcher that it doesn't matter. And oh, he's killed off by the friendly aircraft carrier. So everyone left has a kill at least. Some have two. That Fletcher has been all over the map and has done a great job. And the only enemy that's left, the enemy aircraft carrier. Where could you be, my friend? Where are you? Oh, there you are. It's a Lexington. They're rather large in the water. And I can fire freely over the island. And that's what I'm going to do. Now, I don't think the Lexington ever reaches 30 knots. It's pretty close. I am leading the ship as if it's 30 knots, but I'd say it's probably closer to 28. So not quite 1-to-1 with the dynamic crosshair, but pretty much. And as I get closer and closer and closer, perhaps he's going to make a mistake. I have AP loaded We are looking for that waterline citadel, and it is going to be juicy if we can hit it. So I lead him again. A little less than 30 knots this time. He turns away. Of course, he's ready for the shot, and we do 18,000 points of damage. That's what I want to see. And I want to get more. He does have an island in the way, and I was afraid that he would deny me the chance to kill him. You know, just keep the island in between himself and the Bismarck. He doesn't want to die to a ship that's unreleased at this point. But we clear it. He doesn't really do that. And again, firing at the waterline, or what it will eventually be the waterline. Maybe a little bit too high, 8,400. You don't really want to hit the deck. AP's going to bounce off a lot of the time. You need to hit the side of the ship, especially if it's broadside like it is right now. The rate of fire is great, and you can adjust your shot. Again, we're firing about 30 knots at this point. I think he's almost up to his max speed, if not at his max speed. And this looks good. This looks really good. And oh, yes it is. 17,000. See you later, enemy aircraft carrier. This, like pretty much every game in the Bismarck, was great. Fantastic. We got 4 kills, a citadel, 115,000 points of damage done, 2,866 base XP, but look at that Fletcher. 3,536 base XP. Fantastic job, English Muffin. Pretty much all the damage is an AP. I will be streaming today for the German battleship launch. Hope you'll be there. The times, description, or the intro. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.